With a legal update on a former WWE star and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. In a video posted to his X account, Drew McIntyre can be seen lifting weights as he is being spotted by AEW star Brian Cage. Revealing how she reacted to learning she would be having a match on WrestleMania 40, Jade Cargill said this to Denise Salcedo: "I didn't expect to be on the card at all, and to be paired with Bianca Belair and Naomi, I mean, who gets that opportunity in their first year? It feels like I've had 4 debuts at this point. When I found out, my husband and I were just in the back screaming. It's my first WrestleMania that I've ever attended, and now I'm actually going to be participating in it. I was just overwhelmed with happiness, humbled by the opportunity." Mentioning the possibility on encouraging others to join AEW, Mercedes Moné told Stick to Wrestling podcast, "I don't need to recruit anybody. If anybody wants to be here, they can come here." Well, it's really up to Tony Khan. If he wants somebody here, they would have to be the best wrestlers, and that's what AEW is all about. It's for the best wrestlers in the world. If you want to be here, come to AEW. Touching on his current relationship with Triple H, Cody Rhodes said this on the MMA Hour. "I'm shocked to say, I guess I'm not shocked to say, I never anticipated when we did the Breaking of the Throne, I think I said pissant bodybuilder at one point in my independent career. It may have been in an AEW rant, something, all of it rattling the cages, all of it in the spirit of trash talk and sports entertainment. But we take this stuff personally and it gets under our skin. He really had no reason to take care of me, and he has been an incredible guide, an incredible mentor. Often I'll be standing in gorilla when something else is on the show, and I'll look at him and there is an understanding. There is a knowledge of, oh, that was great, or that wasn't. What can we do here? If I do continue my career in sports entertainment and pro wrestling, I've not shared this with anybody. I've not even shared this with him. But if I was to continue and it was in a backstage environment, I'd like to kind of perhaps follow in those footsteps. I have a great amount of experience, good and bad, and I can put it to use. We're not there yet." Talking about his tour bus catching fire, Cody Rhodes told the Pat McAfee show last night, 1 a.m., "Laying in bed, all of a sudden, loud bang at the side of my bus. Thought it was a gunshot, climbed up. Next thing I know, my bus driver yells, 'We gotta get off this bus, it's on fire.' So my bus, it didn't burn to a crisp, but it was up in a big fireball for a moment. I'm here this morning, non-flinching. I grabbed 2 things off my bus when I thought this is the end. I grab a photo of my daughter and wife and my WrestleMania boots. There ain't nobody here who is more ready for WrestleMania than me. We got a whole lot of stuff out there. Thankful for that." Appearing on the Pat McAfee show, Triple H said this regarding his life following his in-ring retirement: "I still train, I still do all that. I don't think so. I don't think I should be out there taking bumps. I rode it till the wheels fell off, almost literally. I'm great with that, and I was at a place where I should have been retiring anyway. I wanted to be done with it. The last year, right before this all happened, I had been asked to go to WrestleMania for 2 days, and I need ya. You can work with anybody you want. I said, I don't think I want to do it. I thought about it, and I was going to go back and say I'm not doing it, and then I had to not do it, so I was already there. I'm good with it. I have 0 regrets." During that same interview, Triple H noted the significance of evaluating pro wrestling talent. "There are things I used to be on top of all the time. I would keep track of everybody everywhere who was working in this business. I don't have time to do that anymore. I have people who do that. People like William Regal and different folks that are out there. I get reports on everybody. I know who is out there. I know how good they are. I know what their potential is. I see what's out there. I don't subscribe to this guy says they are good, that guy says they are good. I have to see it. It's just keeping track of who is out there and what they can do. Because they succeed someplace else doesn't mean they'll succeed at the big time. How many players go from college football at a high level and fail in the NFL? It's massive. It's a different game, a different world. If they are not here to be all in on this, when I see people coming out of trying to make it and then they pick a job where, well, they work less, the schedule is lighter, then I'm like, I'm glad I didn't pick you. If you're not in it for the grind at that point early in your career, you have no business being here. Giving a legal update on Teddy Hart, Ringside News wrote, the former WWE superstar found himself entangled in major legal issues when he was arrested on July 15, 2023 in Florida, commonly referred to as the Sunshine State. The charges included Teddy Hart being in possession of MDMA, ecstasy, and a controlled substance without a prescription, both classified as third-degree felonies. After failing to appear for a mandatory courtroom session on February 8, a bench warrant was issued to arrest the pro wrestling star. However, Teddy Hart's attorneys later filed a motion to quash the warrant, citing the hospitalization during the scheduled hearing and his inability to contact his legal representation. This resulted in the revocation of that bench warrant on March 14th. Despite this reprieve, Teddy Hart missed another court appearance that was scheduled for Thursday, April 5th, prompting the issuance of a new warrant against the former MLW champion with a bond set at $4,000. PWInsider.com obtained the police report detailing the circumstances of the wrestler's initial arrest on July 15, 2023. It reads, on Friday, July 14, 2023, at approximately 23:09 hours, I observed a gray 2022 Ford Mustang bearing tag BM67ZT traveling eastbound on Cheney Highway at a high rate of speed. I observed the vehicle enter the left turn lane at the intersection of Cheney Highway and South Street. The vehicle then failed to obey the steady red arrow and initiated a left-hand turn around another vehicle and began to travel west on Cheney Highway. After observing the high rate of speed and the failure to obey a steady red signal, I initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle in front of 3500 Cheney Highway. Immediately upon contact with the driver, identified as Edward Ellsworth Annis, and the front seat passenger identified as Brenda Schoon, I smelled the overbearing odor of burnt marijuana emanating from the passenger compartment of the vehicle. As I requested the registration and insurance information for the vehicle, Brenda opened the glove box compartment, which was directly in front of her. As Brenda opened the glove compartment, I observed an unsealed medical marijuana container with a faded label inside of the glove compartment. Upon the arrival of backup, I requested Edward and Brenda exit the vehicle. As Brenda exited the vehicle, I observed several pieces of loose leaf marijuana shake on the seat where Brenda was seated. I asked if either of the individuals possessed a medical marijuana card, and Edward stated he had one but did not have it on him. Brenda stated to me she was the renter of the vehicle. I asked Brenda for consent to search the vehicle, and she was very apprehensive to provide me with either a yes or no answer. I informed Brenda that I was only asking for consent out of a courtesy to her, as I had already developed probable cause due to the loose leaf marijuana I observed on the seat of her vehicle, as well as the unsealed medical marijuana container I observed in the glove compartment. It should be noted the loose leaf marijuana I located on Brenda's seat later field tested presumptive positive for the presence of high THC marijuana. I attempted to locate a history of Edward's medical marijuana card and was unsuccessful. Upon searching the center console of the vehicle, I located a black plastic glasses case. Upon opening the case, I located a small Ziploc baggie of red pills and a small baggie of red powder. As I brought the glasses case to my vehicle in order to conduct field tests on the substances, Edward made a spontaneous utterance that the pills located inside the bag, as well as the powder, is a proprietary blend of vitamins and that he would need that back. Both the pills and the powder field tested presumptive positive for the presence of MDMA. It should be noted Edward knew the location of the baggies containing the substances without me asking him. Edward only saw me walk to my vehicle with a glasses case in my hand. I continued the the search of the vehicle and located a small white fanny pack with the American flag on the front. As Edward saw me reach for the bag, he immediately exclaimed, "That's her bag," referring to Brenda. Upon opening the front pocket of the bag, I located both a USA and a Canadian passport, both with Edward's information and photograph. I also located two small vials inside of the bag, one labeled Masteron and the other labeled testosterone cypionate. I recognized the names of the medications as anabolic steroids. Upon taking the items outside of the fanny pack, Edward immediately exclaimed, "I have a prescription for those." I also located a Ziploc bag containing a blue powder inside of the fanny pack with Edward's passports. The blue powder later field tested presumptive positive for the presence of MDMA. It should be noted I located several more empty or open and partially emptied medical marijuana containers inside of the vehicle during the course of the search. Edward was placed under arrest at this time. In a post-Miranda statement I later obtained at the Titusville Police Department, Edward stated the powders and pills were a proprietary blend of MDMA. See, Edward also stated he has no problem admitting the bag was his. When it comes to how those in WWE are reacting to WrestleMania not having Vince McMahon, Ringside News wrote that Fightful Select has reported that WrestleMania XL will be Vince McMahon's first WrestleMania without any influence, a fact that has stirred enthusiasm behind the scenes. Last year, leading up to WrestleMania 39, McMahon reportedly reinserted himself into company affairs, impacting creative plans and making last-minute adjustments. However, this year's WrestleMania is devoid of McMahon's direct or indirect involvement. During WrestleMania 39 weekend, McMahon's presence and influence were strongly felt, with reports of him altering planned match outcomes and exerting his preferences, despite some decisions being made well in advance, such as Roman Reigns retaining the WWE Universal Championship against Cody Rhodes in the main event of Night 2. McMahon's influence was undeniable. For WrestleMania XL, McMahon's absence from creative decisions is striking. Executives within WWE have expressed relief, believing there is no longer a need to cater to McMahon's creative inclinations. They speculate that McMahon is preoccupied with real-life issues, including legal matters like the Janelle Grant lawsuit. This significant shift has created an atmosphere of excitement backstage, with talent feeling liberated from the fear of McMahon's last-minute alterations. Furthermore, there are no expectations of McMahon making an appearance at the event this weekend. The anticipation extends beyond WrestleMania XL to the post-WrestleMania episode of Monday Night Raw on April 8th, 2024. Many backstage feel that the Raw after WrestleMania has lost its luster in recent years due to McMahon's interference. However, with McMahon's absence, there is hope that the event will return to its former glory as a must-see spectacle. Talking about the late Bray Wyatt, Tommaso Ciampa said this to Wrestle News Co. "Yeah, dude, so he was like the best way to describe him is a dude who you come up to and you feel like you've known him forever because he makes you feel that way. Like, for instance, the first time I ever met him, he greeted me with a warm hug. We talked for about 15 minutes. When I walked away, I questioned myself. I was like, maybe I've met him before. Maybe we've talked before. He made me feel like we were just best buddies. So he was one of those guys where everybody was like, you hear a wrestler's wrestler or a brother on the road, that was Bray. Family guy. Just a good dude to be around." Confirming the change in plans for his involvement at WrestleMania 40, The Rock told the Will Kane Show, "The original plan was for me to come back as the babyface, the big babyface, come back and face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship and put on here in Philadelphia the biggest main event of all time. I believe the qualities of a good leader, not to say that I'm a good leader, but I believe the qualities of a good leader is one who has the ability to pivot, but also make sure that you listen to the people. As I came back, I started to realize that while fans loved the idea of The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, there was also this other storyline building that they had been invested in for a couple of years with a guy named Cody Rhodes, who, wrestling royalty, Dusty Rhodes is his dad, Dustin Rhodes is his brother. One or two things could have happened in that moment. and this happened in January. We could have either kept trucking through. I'm a director of the board. I got a little bit of influence here in the WWE. We could have kept trucking through. The thing that bugged me, I was in Hawaii and I realized, man, there's a segment of fans here who are just disappointed. It hurt my heart to think that. Well, I don't want to truck through and leave these fans disappointed. But not only that, we also got a guy in Cody Rhodes who's been working his ass off for years now. This is his story. Who, by the way, Cody, as we speak very openly here, could not be a better human being. Addressing the recent interviews from CM Punk as well as Cody Rhodes, AEW star Matt Hardy noted on his Extreme Life podcast, it definitely created a lot of chatter, which is good buzz for the WrestleMania event. I mean, people were definitely talking about it. People were talking about CM Punk's comments. As far as some of the things he said, to me, it's very CM Punk. For better or for worse, it was very CM Punk. It's very much who he is. The Cody stuff was cool. I love how Cody still has great respect and greatly acknowledges the Bucks and Kenny and Tony just for starting AEW because it is so important to the industry, and that's just one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of AEW, because it is important. I think it's paramount for the health and the survival of the industry because competition just makes everything better. It gives people that are moved out of one place another option. It's a huge positive no matter which way you slice it. I do love that Cody does acknowledge those positives about it, and I think the fact of the matter is that AEW is going to be a very controversial subject when discussed on any kind of WWE programming, specifically depending on who the person is. It's hard, and I know we talk about this, especially with you being a journalist talking about having checks and balances. When someone starts ranting, they're not able to go all the way into their narrative and can't control their narrative where you can issue checks and balances and keep them in check. That's something that is very interesting here because you have some guys that can do that themselves, and then you have some guys that don't want to do that at all, and they just want to take their narrative and push it to the end. That's kind of how I'll leave that. With it reported that AEW President Tony Khan released the boys due to them missing events, a statement was released from the stars as it reads, "We had planned to stay quiet publicly about our release to take nothing away from the biggest show of the year for ROH and Supercard tonight, out of respect to the locker room that will be on it. Due to Tony's comments and the numerous fans, media outlets, friends, and co-workers that have reached out to us, that isn't an option for us anymore. We want to apologize to the Ring of Honor fans and to the AEW fans that were invested in the storyline and were expecting the both of us to be there. With so many fans wanting answers, in addition to numerous people that have voiced their comments at the thought of us really just no-showing on some of the biggest opportunities of our lives due to Tony Khan's statements, here it is. My brother and I were told that we would be included in this story through Supercard, and there were plans for us to be with John and Taya leading up to the show. We were asked to pitch several ideas for ourselves, insinuating we would get the opportunity to show that we can wrestle more in the future. On March 16th, our scheduled date falling Dalton losing custody for the first time in our history of flying in North America, previously with Sinclair ROH and now Tony Khan's ROH, our travel was booked out of Nashville instead of our home airport of Knoxville. The screenshots of this interaction with management and travel, including the times, are in the comments. On Monday, April 1st, we were contacted by management accompanied by HR on a call to inform us of our release due to budget cuts. At that time, we raised concerns and repeatedly questioned if the release was due to the travel issues. We were repeatedly and adamantly assured that this was not the case and based solely on budget cuts. Since Tony's statement, we reached out yesterday providing the specific details, asking for Tony to clear this up. We have gotten no response. Unfortunately, in the court of public opinion, for a lot of people commenting, it's assumed that we're guilty from one man's words until we now have to prove we're not. We're now forced to release this info along with the screenshot proof to keep people from putting us down on social media or on this evening show. We understand that putting this out is detrimental to our careers, but our back is against the wall on this, and it was either this or let Tony Khan go on saying we no-showed. We want to thank each and every fan who has reached out and made your voices heard, as well as the locker room members who have reached out that know the truth as well. We hope you all still enjoy the show this evening for the sake of the wrestlers putting on their best, and appreciate how much we've seen that people really care about two boys who were always considered replaceable. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.